Hello everybody, Andrew Casey at Hypersanity Books. Today we'll be talking about the movie and book Sliding Doors. Now within this review, we'll start off with basic information and lead to more complicated information as the story progresses. Otherwise, let's get into it. Number 10. Sliding Doors Moment. So within the movie and the book, the character loses her job within the beginning. Yes, she does the wrong thing taking the alcohol that was supplied for another occasion, in case, executives, whatever. Now, within the story, she is also depressed within her home life. That's more prevalent within the book. And it leads to this moment called the Sliding Doors Moment. One story within the book and the movie, we'll just say movie for this review because it's most of the material we can go off. She goes onto the train, and the other story, she doesn't go on the train. Now, this is a particular moment, we look at this within our personal lives. If we could change anything in one moment, what would that be? And this is what the moment shows with two different stories within the book and the film moving forward. Number 9, same character, two stories.
Cup of tea?
That'd be nice.
You bastard!
Now, with this, circumstance drives the plot along, showing two different stories at the same time. Within the book, it's a well way this is written, and you might inspire more from the book, I will be honest, to applying this to your own writing and storytelling, how the book was written, how it goes from one story to showing the other. And it's the way that this works allows you to see the perspective of how the story's unfolding in each moment. So the long story short, one story which we'll call story 1. So in story 1, she catches the train and it shows her meeting with someone else after she dropped her earring, after losing her job in the elevator. Yes, that moment happens, and she meets this other guy, goes back to her place and catches him in the act committing adultery. Now, I'm not condoning this. Within the book, there is another part. They haven't had relations for 2 months.
2 months. Almost to the day.
Almost to the day. Listen to you. What are we, a survey?
And that's a big issue. Also being said, he has knocked back relations with her because he is getting that fulfillment or need from someone else, being an ex-partner, which is relevant to the story. In scenario 2, she doesn't catch the subway train, has a lot of other mishaps getting back to the apartment. He gets rid of the other girl, and she's in that environment of not knowing what he has done. Number 8, 2 love triangles. With the example of love triangles, this example is a bit different. You have a right angle triangle, and with the bigger square, Jerry is in the corner of this love triangle because the circumstances in scenario 1 and 2, he is the corner of the love triangle. In story 1, she doesn't even know about the other girl, and she's still in that relationship with Jerry. In story 2, she's left the relationship with Jerry, and he has the relationship with his former partner. Now, it also explained that the former partner, she separated from the relationship prior, moving to America compared to where they lived in London. So there are a few different dynamics to think about. I'm not too keen on companion books, though the way this book is written, I love it, how it shows the two perspectives. Number 7, what are the problems? Well, in story 1, she has a new love interest, which is someone that she met to the earring story she met on the train. With story 1, it's showing the comparison where she's going for a small business loan, doing more things for herself and other ambitions compared to the corporate life she had. In story B, one of the bigger problems within the previous relationship was not having the relations together. The other big issue, and I'm not saying I'm condoning any of this, don't get me wrong, the other big issue within the story B, he is to circumstance. He doesn't work And even though she's lost her job, and it makes more sense in the book, she has to work so much harder, so many longer hours to provide, because there's this seemingly other story moving forward where he's going to someday write a best-selling book and provide financially well. So she's sacrificing constantly in story B, where she's still with Jerry, and giving up a lot of her life to support him. And he's a character of circumstance. He's still also cheating with the other girl throughout the narrative. But the problems between both stories, it's showing that story 1 has a lot less drama. Number 6, Antagonist. With story 1, the antagonist is clearly Jerry. Now, the more she's removed him from her life, the better she's doing. She also has a friend that she's living with temporarily and being supportive while she's having a relationship with another man. Now, with this person, there's a big bombshell to be let off later on. Now, in story 2, it has Lydia as the antagonist. Now, Helen, the main character, does not know about the relationship that Jerry's having with her behind her back. Now, the antagonist within this, Lydia knows exactly what she's doing. She's also stalking the other character, playing games, instead of coming forward with the truth. Number 5, comparisons. Within both stories, between the film or the book, I find it quite interesting. It's written well to know what story's what at what time between scenario 1 and 2. Now, with the comparisons, the idea of this simple storytelling is to show comparisons of certain things that you can do with your life. And in one event later on, she's hosting at an event where she's got other celebrities and other high-profile people around, and she's being more ambitious for what she wants in life. In story A as well, the first scenario, Jerry is trying to meet with her to talk outside, and it sort of keeps trying to draw her back into the game, where he's like, I can't write without you. The codependency of the character is quite disturbing. In the other scenario, she is busting her butt off, working, trying to provide for his unemployed, codependent behaviour. And I'm trying to refrain from other words there, sorry. But Jerry, this type of character, he's also pretending to be somewhere else to do more education and study while he's off with the other girl, and trying to keep that filter on. Within the comparisons, Lydia is not a concern in scenario 1 because she realises that Jerry can't let her go and is living the double life. Whereas in scenario B, Lydia has more games planned ahead, and they get more disturbing. Number 3, pregnancy. Now, with story 1, Helen has the new boyfriend, James, finds out that she's pregnant to him. She also finds out a little bit of other information that he's left behind. Remember I said there was a bombshell? He is a married man. So as much as scenario 1 sounded so good, he is a married man, and he did not disclose that information, that he has a wife, and why he still has a wife and still using that for health insurance, whatever else. That is a really big bombshell to let off, and then you're pregnant with this man. That is a horrible situation to be in. And then in scenario 1, Jerry has also impregnated Lydia. So Jerry has a lot of issues, and he really needs therapy. His best friend within the story, within both scenarios, talking to him, his friend is giving advice, though his friend is not feeling concern, remorse, or anything else, because it is a comedy. That is one of the problems with that type of friend. He's giving some sort of blunt advice. He needs to be blunter with him, because this game had to stop, but it's pushing to further and further trouble for Jerry. With scenario 2, Jerry has impregnated Helen and Lydia, so he has 2 children on the way, which really complicates life. And this starts to lead towards the climax, and some characters are still in mystery with each other. And even though there's games being played, they're not all intentional games by the protagonist. I want to make that clear. The protagonist is not trying to play these sorts of dirty, filthy games. Number 2, Climax. Now, this climax builds up showing both stories at the same time, and the consequences. In story 1, the climax is a lot simpler. It's her crying at the bridge. James meets with her and tries to explain himself and says, do you really want to give up on chance on love with this one thing? Now, he is still justifying the behaviour, and I do say this. Throughout the story, James looks like a wonderful guy, someone she can engage with, she can do a lot of other fun social things with, but that bombshell of being married is a really serious issue. In scenario 2, Jerry is meeting up with Lydia, and now remember I said Lydia loves playing games, so she organises a fake job interview for Helen to go to her apartment to unfold the bombshell that she is pregnant with his child and whether she's going to have an abortion. Now that's already a very big subject matter to be discussing. He's caught in the moment to be chasing Helen because that's who he wants to be with, or who he thinks he wants to be with, despite his infidelities. After running out into trouble, she falls, hurts herself. She's in hospital. She loses the baby, and he finds out that she was pregnant. Now, I want to make this clear between both stories. Both stories are very awkward situations, especially containing the subject of unplanned pregnancies with quick flings and relationships. These relationships, by any means, are not healthy relationships. Number 1, resolution. Thank you for watching up to this point. The resolution of the story, in scenario 1, Helen dies. She dies, loses the baby to James, and I think that part of the story, if we were talking story 1, it is to keep the story engaging and moving along, showing less drama, but there were still some underlying issues. Now in story 2 is where the story carries on for the ending. She leaves the hospital, says she's going to walk out of his life, leave Jerry, and just be done. Because there were way too many bombshells that hit in life and other realizations to how much she was sacrificing for this relationship when he wasn't even committed to the relationship.
Thank you.
Cheer out. You know what the Monty Python boys say?
Nobody expects a Spanish Inquisition.
Helen leaves the hospital, drops her earring in the elevator, and she has that moment with the other guy, James. Now, from this point with the ending, there is the chance of a better story carrying along, because there is that moment that of familiarity where it goes back to the beginning of the story, to that one little subplot moment. And I love that in the writing. I love that in fiction. So from that moment, I would say there is a good chance for the story to carry on where James is honest about his being married, works out another resolution forward to have a relationship with Helen. But that's another story that shall not be told another time. Otherwise, that's it for today. Hit like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next video.